how to deal with and manage the urges and triggers of wanting to return back to pornography. You know, I talk to a lot of young men on a weekly basis who tell me they're committed to living a porn-free life. They tell me that they're committed to overcoming their addiction to pornography. But their reasons for slipping back, their reasons for relapsing are because the urges, the temptations, the triggers are just too strong for them to manage, self-regulate, and self-control. And brother, I'm here to tell you that if you cannot learn to manage some of these situations, if you cannot learn to have some self-control when the urges are rushing up at a level 10, then you will never find absolute freedom. And you will always be, number one, a victim and slave to your physical desires, but you will always be caught up in the relapse recovery cycle. So what I want to do here today is I want to give you the 3-step process that we found has become most effective with the men that we work with, the men that we coach. And I've used this in my own life when I decided to quit porn back in 2019. It was this process. It was these questions that I took myself through when I felt tempted, when I felt triggered, when I felt the urges rushing up. Real quick, for those that don't know who we are, my name is Frank Rich, CEO, founder, and head coach at Rebuilt Recovery. It is our mission to help men become better men by quitting porn and rebuilding their lives. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we are dropping videos every single day. And if you want some help and strategies to help you break free from this porn addiction, then down there in the first pinned comment below, I'm going to put a link to our 7-step guide. We've used this with over 4,000 men now to help them conquer their porn addiction and create a porn-free life. Let's talk about these urges. Number one, we must recognize them for what they are. They are a real thing. When you're feeling a desire, when you're feeling a trigger urge of wanting to return back to pornography, that is a real feeling. It's a biological response that is happening in your body. Now, it could be triggered by a series of events, could be triggered by a lot of stress, could be triggered just due to your patterns of behavior, neural connections. Every time something happens in your life, this has become the default pattern for yourself. So number one is just recognize them and accept them, that they're real and they're here. But just because you're feeling a certain way doesn't mean you need to entertain these thoughts and feelings. Just because your body is telling you one thing doesn't mean that you do not have control of it. This is where we must learn to transcend our innate physical desires. This is where we must learn to gain some self-regulation, some self-control tools. So I want to take you through a 3-step process here. Number one is we must ask ourselves and get really clear on what are we actually feeling? Get underneath the thought of a trigger. Get underneath what is an urge and ask yourself, am I seeking something or am I running from something? This will reveal to you a lot of things about yourself. This will reveal to you a lot of things about what is actually happening there in the moment. If you're seeking something, that's going to tell you that, hey, I have some holes in my life. If you're running away from something, whether it's stress, anger, fights, arguments, that means that you need to learn to self-control and self-regulate yourself in those situations. So the first step in this process of understanding what our urges are telling us is, what is it that we're actually feeling and thinking? Now, the second thing is, how is pornography not going to solve whatever it is we're desiring? We're thinking that pornography is going to give us an insane rush of dopamine. It's going to take all of our stresses away. It's going to make us feel good in the moment. But anybody that's been going down this path for a while knows that what they believe they're going to get from pornography is not actually what it's going to provide to us. So think about the shame. Think about the guilt. Think about the lack of energy. Think about how it's taking you off path for the purpose in your life. And answer those questions. If I were to return back to pornography, how wouldn't this solve the problem that I'm trying to solve in question number one? So the first thing is to get clear on what it is you actually want. And what is it that you're running to? And the second thing is, how will pornography not solve this problem in your life? And then the third question, the third step in this process is to identify what you need to do now in the moment to answer question one without having to run back to pornography. So what other decisions could you make? What other actions can you take in your life? Whether it's calling up somebody because you're seeking connection, whether it's getting outside because you need to have a stress break, whether it's getting a workout in because you have a lot of built up energy. There's going to be alternative solutions for you, but the only way for you to get there is to know, number one, what it is you're running to and how pornography will not solve that problem. Now, I cannot guarantee that if you follow this process, you will never feel a trigger and urge again, because this is what you do when you're feeling those feelings, triggers, and emotions. But to begin to gain your level of self-awareness, number one, you're going to identify the triggers before they even come, because you'll see, like, okay, as I've gone down this path in life, as I've made these choices and decisions, this is what's leading me to feeling tempted and urged. So you can put boundaries in place. You can avoid putting yourself in the same situations in the future. So I hope this video is helpful to you. Like I said, guys, if you're looking for a strategy and a proven process to help you quit porn for good and become the man that you were created to be, then down in the first pinned comment, make sure to click that link below and put your email address. We'll send the book over to you guys right away. But Frank Rich at Rebuild Recovery. I love you guys. Hope this video is helpful, and we'll see you on the other side.